yesterday I began giving you a tour through my new house, and we did the dining room. Here's my little buddy Charlie, who's got a cone on because he's scratching too much around his ears. But anyways, to get to some of the displays that are in here. On this one, again, I apologize for the reflection. This one is a collection of ancient pottery, Etowah stamped pottery from the Cartersville, Georgia area, where the Etowah Mine Complex is located. I visited it a couple times. Awesome site to me. And then just some odds and ends, out of place artifact. There's a video that I have on YouTube about that piece. Sea lion, immature one that I found, and then werewolf coin and master ink bottle. But sorry about the quick movement. Here's a collection of it. You know what? I can turn this light on too. It might help some, or it might not. Here's a collection of trade era beads that were all dug up here in Saginaw, Michigan. It's hard to tell because of the reflection that I'm trying to deal with here, but there are some beautiful and rather rare ones in there. Over here, before the Saginaw News became just the Saginaw News, it was the Saginaw Daily News, and here are two issues of it. The front pages from the 1930s. One, as you can see, hopefully, is Saginaw Bank drafting program, and then the other one, which is really fascinating to read, 317 lose lives in Ohio prison fire. Below that is a frame of pottery from my old Manhattan Creek site up in Oscoda, Michigan. These particular pieces were not gathered by me, but they are from my site. And then here are some bone pieces from that site. A couple of them have display cut marks, showing that they were indeed bones that were encountered by ancient man in northeast Michigan. Down here in front of the door, I have kind of a tribute to the Mayan culture. Everything in that one is reproduction except the little cup on the lower right. I don't know if I can get that in without it blurring too much. Let's try this a little bit. But that one is, when I bought it I was told, I don't have a certificate, but I was told it was 500 to 1500 years old. In the corner over here, and this is really dark, so I'm sorry, zoom out some. In the background, you see laying against the wall is a crosscut saw that I haven't decided where I'm going to put it yet. And then there are two large, what look like ancient Indian pots. They are not. They are actually crucibles from an iron foundry that was on the Saginaw River. That particular one, I believe, stopped operation around 1900. And a few old stoneware jugs, as well as from Peru, I believe it is, Circle of Friends terracotta assembly figures. And of course a little moose in the crucible. Up here, these are fairly easy to obtain, but they're beautiful, and I liked this one. It's an Egyptian print that's actually on papyrus, and very nice piece there. Now here is an interesting collection. I'm going to back up so you can get overall view of it. This collection in the two aquariums on top, which I use as display cases, and the old type tray on the bottom, are Indian artifacts that I found here in Saginaw. These date back a long ways. I'm dating, my estimate is to the late Archaic period, which these reflections are awful, which I believe can go back as much as 3,000 years. And these were found where a house had been torn down, vacated, actually had burned, and then they tore the rest of it down. All of these were surface finds underneath the old house. And I do have a video up about these particular pieces, so you might want to check that out, and I'll try to remember to put a link in the description so that you can. There's a collection of antique bottles and vintage bottles. The amber ones and the dark green ones are from the 1870s, 1880s era. And there's some more recent vintage pop bottles on both ends, an Orange Crush, what have you. Interesting little scene made from some 1930s salt and pepper shakers. Actually, they were two Dutch men and, or Quaker men, excuse me, and two Dutch children and a collie. Over here is another little scene with a large German bisque and a little boy and his cat. And my son David with his bisque 1930s Mickey Mouse that he dug up some years ago up in Tawas, Michigan. And we got Sherman and Peabody down here with the dinosaur. Invasion of the Saucermen, one of my favorite films from when I was a little kid. Here's a winter scene. Two vintage Avon cars. A couple of little boy in the background is circa 1940s. He's a skier. Little guy in the foreground is bringing wood to build a fire, and there are several other figures in there. And as we go down on this bookcase, there's a shadow box with my pet plesiosaur in the upper left-hand corner. There are also on this shelf various fossils and specimens of Michigan float copper. One of the nicest fossils is the chain coral. See how close I can get to that without it blurring too badly. And that was found here in Saginaw, Michigan. And then, move over to this wall. This basket, I don't know if it's of Native American origin or how old it is. I found it on a corner here, about a block to 2 blocks from the house that David and I are renting. And it's pretty cool. I believe that it's vintage or antique, but I can't say for sure. But it does have a look of a very elaborate Indian basket. It's large. And the background behind it, the painting I did based on one of the Nabokov stones from Alpena, Michigan. I also have a video up about that. That represents the Thunderbird bird spirit, which was important to the Algonquin mythology. And a plaque reproduction of an icon from the Aztec people. It's pretty cool. This is a bone. I believe was used as a knife. It was found again here in Saginaw, Michigan. I believe that would actually hail from the late woodland period, which would be about 500 to 1400 years. And up here, an article that I had that was published some time ago, showing a really cool little vessel, pottery vessel that I dug up again at my old Benetton Creek site. Its demise saddens me because during my divorce, my ex-wife, out of her ugliness, kept the piece, and a boyfriend of hers destroyed it because it had belonged to me, and that I had found it. This is another frame. I'm sorry about the reflections. This has various Native American oriented pieces in it. Some tobacco cards from the 1920s, 30s. Unfortunately, behind the rotating fan is a dream catcher that you really can't see very well. The little dude in the teepee I got back in 1997 when my children and I were visiting down in Florida. And again, from Old Benetton Creek site, this is a handheld chopper. Some more pottery from the Old Benetton Creek site, and a possible effigy of a Thunderbird head up there. That was from Saginaw County. That pretty much shows the artifacts that are here in my living room. There is room. I will be adding more as time goes on, and I hope you've enjoyed this look today, as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. In part 3, I'll show you some of the displays that I have established upstairs. All right, have a great day, and thanks for coming.